keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. What a week it's been for New York sports. For some, and for others, it's been dreadful. Last night, the Jets continue their winless, horrible start to a season, losing 37-28 to the Denver Broncos. We'll get into the New York Giants and the New York Jets in a little while. Which team are they going to give up on one of their quarterbacks already, and who may it be? Is it going to be DJ or is it going to be Sam Darnold? We'll talk about that and the games throughout week 4.
Which franchise, honestly, is the worst? Trevor?
I don't know. They are the 2 worst teams in the NFL currently.
Are they the 2 worst teams in New York?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you got the Mets.
We'll talk about that. But there was good for New York teams. The New York Yankees. Our New York Yankees are going on to the ALDS, where they're taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. And it was scary. And Joseph, why don't you just join in right now? Because I know you're waiting for us currently. And there he is. What a night it was. Wednesday night. Scary, long game. 6 hours long. My goodness. I haven't seen anything like it. I was surprised the Yankees held on. And I was a little nervous throughout that game. There were points that I felt like, if we lose this game, I didn't know if we were going to win game 3. It was that nerve-wracking for me as a Yankee fan. And, Joe, now we're playing the Rays. We've seen this before. The Yankees, they take care of round 1. Now they go to a team that they've struggled with. Red Sox, the Astros in the past. Now it's the Rays. So here we go. This is the matchup we've been waiting for. Kevin Cash, early in this year, said, hey, I got a couple guys that will throw 98 or 99 miles per hour. So they're waiting. So this has been a matchup we've been waiting.
This is not the matchup that should be going on. Because I don't like the format. First of all, I want to just say this. I don't like the format that MLB used. Because if you're the 1 seed and you're the Rays, you don't want to play the Yankees right now. The Yankees are not the lowest seed right now to advance. It's the Astros. The Rays should be playing the Astros, and the Yankees should be playing the A's. Because that is how, in normal brackets, the 1 plays the 4. The 1 doesn't play the 3, and the 2 doesn't play the 4. That's not how it goes, okay? If the benefit of having the number 1 seed is supposed to have the easiest road to the championship. If I'm the Rays, I know I've beaten the Yankees 8 out of 10 times this year. Good for you. But what are you going to do in the playoffs? Do you really – it's like the Yankees. Do you really want to face the Red Sox in the playoffs? You could be 10-0 against them. Do you really want to face the Red Sox? No, you don't. So, but with that being said, congratulations, New York Yankees. You're advanced.
Joe, how are you feeling throughout that night? I mean, I know I was up and down.
Do you guys agree? I'm sorry. I know you were going on to another side, but I just made a point. Do you guys disagree with what I'm saying?
The playoff format?
If I'm a Rays fan, that I have to play the Yankees, you could be like, yeah, well, I have beaten them. But do you really, if you're a Rays fan, do you really want to play the Yankees right now?
I feel, Joe, go ahead.
Well, look, I would say this. The Rays dominated the Yankees 100% this year, but on the bright side, I think you have to consider the fact that the Yankees are due, and the Yankees are playing better than they have before. And I think if you saw anything from this 2-game sweep of the Cleveland Indians, it was the Yankees played perfect baseball. They played good fundamentals, no outs on the bases, no booting the ball around. The pitching was pretty tight. The bullpen did a good job for the most part. They lit up these really good Cleveland Indian pitchers. If the Yankees hit the Rays, if the Yankees starters pitch like they're capable of going, the Yankees have nothing to fear in Tampa. Regardless, my whole thought going into the postseason this year is it didn't matter where you were seated. It's all weird. And they're playing in San Diego. So it's not even like Tampa gets the benefit of playing in that dump of a field that they have. So to me, all things considered on a neutral site,
Real question is, do you like those? Do you like that it's on a neutral site, these playoff series?
No, I think it's stupid. I mean, that's not how it works.
I agree with you. But you know what's crazy? I was saying to one of my coworkers, because he's a huge Yankee fan, like literally watches every Yankee baseball game. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's the type of guy, like he told me he's a football fan, Giant fan, that even on his honeymoon, Giants were playing, and he told his wife, listen, the Giants are at 1 o'clock for 3 hours. I'm going to go watch the Giant game. You can join, or you could go have you get to go do your spa day.
That's how exactly I want my life.
With that being said, I asked him, I said, sports aside, the health concern, COVID has just hit 30 states that turned into red. I believe, isn't California red? Like, aren't they in a COVID state? So what I'm saying is, why are the games moving to West Coast? And that means another thing is, I don't know how to affect the Yankees and Rays, but that means all the games are going to be 4 o'clock games because it's 7 o'clock Eastern time, and they're not going to put the Yankees on in the middle of the day. I'm sorry, but Yankees are going to be prime time 7 o'clock, and then the Dodgers and those teams will be on the 10 o'clock slate. Mm-hmm. But does that affect the team? But I can't believe that there's not a place on the East Coast. They could have played in New York. Could have played.
I mean, the cases are starting to rise again throughout the country, so we're going to see how that happens. It's affecting the NFL.
I think that plays
it's affecting the NFL. Now, finally, it hit the big boy, the NFL. It finally went after that. So we got to see how that's going to happen for the NFL. Not trying to sidetrack, but you got to see now, because this is a whole nother thing that we got to see. They're going to different.
Real quick. Ted was right. They could have done this in New York because it's not like Citi Field is being used.
Yeah. No, I know. If you
didn't want the game at Yankee Stadium, so it didn't feel like the Yankees had it. You could put it. You just
love going after the Mets any time you have, right?
Because you know what, I wouldn't go after Mets and Mets fans if they just weren't always running that. When you're like a lovable loser, you get a free pass. You just start running your mouth about how good your pitching is, and then you come in 4th place. I have to laugh at you. I can't help it.
I mean, even the Marlins made the playoffs.
I mean,
we'll give the Nationals a pass.
Everybody in the NL East made the playoffs except for the Mets.
The Nationals and Phils didn't make it either.
The Mets. Nobody cares.
About those
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They already won. Who cares?
This is what, this series, we've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for the Rays because, look, they've been the best team in the AL all year. So I know the Yankees had a brief period of being the number 1 team, but for most of the season, it's been the Rays AL. It always has been. So we're going against the top dog. Haven't had their number. They've had our number. That's been our kryptonite. I'm going to ask you, the Yankees win this series if, Ted, I want you to start. Yankees win if.
The players that we had talked about before the first round series, when all 3 of us made predictions, and you said, you asked you guys, who's got you said, what Yankee has the most important? And I said,
most important.
I said Judge and
Gleyber.
And I really felt that way because Gleyber last year was the best player on the team. He was considered MVP type talent last year. All right. Oh, I know.
I'm not. DJ's been the best player in the Yankees past 2 seasons.
I think.
Tell me something I'm wrong.
But I've become spoiled already about DJ LeMahieu because I'm like, all this guy does is hit. I'm more shocked when he doesn't get a hit than when he does get a hit. And you don't say that about many baseball players nowadays, because just look at the series. The Yankees the other night, there was 19 total walks in the game, tied to MLB record. Ridiculous. And in the game before that, earlier during the day, the Reds game against the Braves had 37 strikeouts. So the game is all about walks, home runs, and strikeouts. That's it. You don't need to see 3, 4, 5 hits put together. It's a hit, a walk, a home run, boom, 2 outs in a row. That's how it goes. That's what we're looking. That's what baseball has become. Even A-Rod said it the other day. But if guys like Judge, right in that first inning, boom, you jump on the best pitcher in baseball this season, 8-1, Shane Bieber, and you jump on him 2-0, bang, bing, you hit a boop and a blast, like they say. You're up 2-0. It's a mindset game. And then Gleyber goes 4 for 4. If you get these guys to produce, and don't forget, these guys weren't healthy. They didn't play against the Rays. What would the Yankees be if they had a full talented team? And Joe, you gave me a stat earlier, and I'm going to use it off of you. Stan, when he's in the lineup, the Yankees are 7-0. So look at the big guns. That's the lineup, right? I mean, this is
those guys have come up clutch. Stanton hit the 2 home runs in the first round. Gleyber had a good day the other night. Judge, if we could get Judge starting to go, he hit the home run in game 1. But Sanchez come up clutch the other night. I know but who cares? It's clutch. DJ being DJ, that was huge for them. Garrett Cole looked amazing, every bit amazing, like we expected him to be. It's just, and let me say this: the MVP of that first round was Gio Urshela, because he makes 2 of the biggest plays of that entire night. He makes the play. If the Yankees advance, Yankees advance to the World Series or even win, that play will be the play of the postseason for the New York Yankees. It will be, Joe, how about this? The flip 2.0. Not the real, but the double play. You think about that. Cleveland's going in. They're gonna score. The game, it looks like they're gonna open the gates up, the floodgates. This is it. Here we go. Game 2, Yankees use a heartbeat. Bam. Gio comes in, makes a huge play. The beautiful dive. I mean, he's amazing. His third baseman skills, he's up at the top with Arenado, Machado. He's right there defensively, and he was clutch in the bat as well. So Gio Urshela right there. If the Yankees get to the World Series, if they win it, that will be the play that we talk about that propelled the Yankees to greater heights.
So you said Gio, and you were talking about Gio, but Joe, to Trevor's previous question, he asked you, what do the Yankees have to do?
If the Yankees win, Yankees will win this series if
the Yankees will win the series against the Tampa Rays if they play good fundamental baseball. If they're kicking the ball around, making errors, giving Tampa extra outs and innings, getting thrown out on the base paths. If the Yankees play a sloppy series, that's how they're going to lose it. Because you can't mess around with Tampa Bay. You got to play your best baseball with Tampa Bay. As far as who's got to carry this team, the guy I've been looking at, and I said this from the beginning of the series, that to me the Yankees are going to go as far as Aaron Judge will take them in this postseason. And I think he has to. And this is going to almost sound a little bit silly, and it's not. Hear me out for a second. He's been in the postseason now 4 years in a row. The Yankees have not gotten to the World Series. It's his team. It's been on his back. This would be another failure on his part. And he's been great in the postseason, but great players lead their teams, get their teams over the hump.
They take them to where you expect them to be, championships. Exactly.
He's got Garrett Cole. We've got Tanaka. Hap's been outstanding of late, so there's no excuses for this team. If Aaron Judge has a big series against Tampa, guaranteed that the Yankees are advancing into the next round. If Aaron Judge struggles like he did after the home run in the series against Cleveland, I don't know how they're going to best this team in a 5-gamer.
All right, quickly for me, my thing would be bullpen. I think the bullpen's been the backbone of this Yankees team since this whole run has happened.
This has been their worst.
Hold on.
This has been their worst situational bullpen use in the last 3 years. Like, they were great 3 years ago. Last year they had a little more. This year was their worst part. So
just let me roll with the punches.
No,
bro.
but I was gonna.
My God, my goodness. Yeah, I know. You got it. You're Ted. I know, Ted.
Don't touch
I'll
me.
have another chicken parm. My
Trev,
God.
listen,
I'll have another chicken
I won't
parm.
want you.
I want another. Hold on.
I was going to agree with you.
Okay, so let me.
That's why you're bringing them up. Because
let me get to my point. I let you guys all talk. I was very generous and I was very kind to all you fine gentlemen on this show, on this great show that we are streaming also on all social media platforms like Keys to the City as well as YouTube. So follow us, check us out, and subscribe.
Go ahead, honey.
So let's go, sweetheart. The Yankees, like I said, the bullpen has been the backbone since 2017, since this whole run really started, even with Girardi and now with Boone. It's always been their greatest strength. I know the home run, they got the big bats, but it's always been their greatest strength. They've always had to rely on it. Like you said, Ted, they haven't looked up to par this year. But this is the opportunity for them to be the New York Yankees bullpen. If that New York Yankees bullpen is shut down, lights out, the Yankees will have, I don't think, a problem in this series because of the fact that this offense is good enough to carry them. But if that bullpen does its part, they should. I expect them to win that. That's plain and simple. Yankees lose this series if. There's a possibility Yankees could lose. So if the Yankees lose, why?
That's easy. It's the same things that made them lose 8 out of 10 games during the regular season. Like Joe said, fundamental baseball. But I was going to make a point, and this is the reason why I say it, is game 1, the Yankees did it the way we expect them to. Blowout bombs, right? Yankee bombers. Just home run after home run. All right? Yep. Well, how did they win game 2? They came back from behind, and they showed fight, and they had clutch at bats, and Sanchez to get the sac fly when they needed to, and DJ to get the hit, and Gio to jump on him on a grand slam, and those little things about doing good baseball, right?
Yep.
And what made them win that first series? Cole was the best pitcher in baseball on Tuesday night, and that's what he has to be, because when you're going to face a guy like Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, we got to beat one of them, all right? We can't go 0-2 this. It can't be Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson. It can't be, because 5-game set, those guys can pitch.
But the Yankees do have the pitching that
games
can match them. Cole is Cole, and Tanaka in the postseason. I know the other night was a struggle because of the way that MLB handled that weather situation. But Tanaka in the postseason, as we know, coming into Wednesday's game, or Tuesday, whenever with
Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay, was a 1.56 ERA. So he's dominated. His record doesn't show it, but his ERA shows it. He's been dominant in the postseason. You can match those two up. Cole versus Glasnow, I'll take Cole. And then Tanaka versus Snell, that's a toss-up. Snell's been great since coming onto the scene. But Tanaka, we know what he does in the postseason. Hap is the question mark always going into game 3.
I just want to see clutch hitting. Clutch hitting, because that's what I think about when I think about the early 90s teams of the Yankees. Clutch hitting.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They started last night. They started the other night.
You don't have to score every time at bat, but every other time, guys on second, get them in. Find a way. I said the other night, guys on second, 2-sack fly should get you the guy in every time. And you still have one out.
They did their part. Everybody did it.
Sanchez
Sanchez did his part. Gio did his part.
Because that's what Tampa Bay does. They get you with 2 outs, and they would score 3-4 runs on 2 outs.
Clutch hitting.
And that's big. 2-out hitting.
Yankees lose this series
if Garrett Cole doesn't win 2 games, they definitely will lose the series. He's definitely got to win his starts. And again, I really think if Aaron Judge doesn't have a big series, then I don't think that the Yankees can go very far. I think they're at their best when he's playing his best.
Yeah.
You look up and down that lineup, especially if you're going to keep running him out in the 2-hole. He's really got to start producing at this point, or you're going to see first Voit will hit second and he'll drop to third.
We didn't mention his name this entire time,
which is so ridiculous because he was
the home run leader, Joe.
Look, there's 2 guys on this Yankee team who are bona fide superstars who get absolutely no credit. Luke Voit and right across the diamond, Gio Urshela. These guys are like literally all-star caliber superstar players. And they get no love from anybody.
That's good. I like that. Have the underdog role. Let's before we get into the NFL, the AL side, we got our Final Four. The NL is still waiting on 2 games today. We could have 2 elimination games. We could have the Cards, and we got the Cards against the Padres game 3, deciding game 3. And then could the Marlins upset the Cubs? That's a possibility. So we can't make our NLCS predictions, or could we? Do we see the Marlins coming back? Yes or no? No.
Well, Marlins.
Do the Cubs come back? Yes or no? And then who wins game 3?
They got Darvish.
And then game 3, who wins tonight? Padres or Cards? How about
you got to like the Cubs tonight with Darvish going.
Okay.
He's had such a great year, and this would be a big redemption for him to get over a hump and get this team into the next round.
You got the new kids on the block, or you got the Cardinals, the old blue chip veteran type presence. Do they win, and are they going to?
Do you know the Cardinals? Do you know the Cardinals were 68-1 in their history of baseball when they led by more than 4 runs in a game?
It's crazy. Machado and Tatis, amazing.
Those Will Myers and him,
and Will Myers too. So do we got the Cards or we got the Padres?
It's going to be the Cardinals. I think the Padres, with all the pitching stuff coming in, the pitching problems, losing Clevenger and Danielson there, it was just too much. You're facing one of the best pitchers in the National League. Good luck.
Didn't Paddock get hurt too?
Yeah. I mean, they're in rough shape. It's a shame.
I would say the Padres could they ride that momentum? That's a big win for a young group.
I would say the Cards.
You know what I mean? And that type of momentum can propel you past maybe not the next series, but at least
sign me up for that Dodgers Padres series though.
But
if that happens,
I'm going to take the Cards because a lot of these players have been there before. This is not their first rodeo. Yadier Molina, come on, dude. You think he's never lost a game?
I'm going.
And then so for them to fight back, I think Flaherty is one of the best pitchers in the NFL. So I'll take the Cards. I would have took them in the series anyways.
Do I go with the upset?
I think the Cubs come back. I think the Cubs back.
Do I got the Cards or do I got the Padres? Do I go against you guys again?
Do it.
Yeah, let's go with it. I'll go with the Padres. Screw it. I like what Todd said. No, I'm not doing no sub. We already got something going in the next segment. Okay.
Joe, I was trying to prepare him for a sub.
Now that he got his stupid sub, now he's being really picky with the bets as he doesn't want to have to pay. You think he would just be happy to go to Weathersfield Peace out any chance he gets?
Don't get greedy over here with me. Give me another 4 of those. My God, Weathersfield Pizza House, amazing.
Joe, if you have not been here and you
gotta shout them out,
and you live up here, go to the Weathersfield Pizza House.
Joe, thank you for telling us. Even Ralph mentioned you got to go check this place. So thank you both of you for letting us know. They didn't let us know. They didn't let us down.
This was on Facebook.
I'm gonna go with the Padres. I love what Tatis and Machado and Will Myers are doing. That could rise them right up. But the Cards are tricky. You never know with them. And then the ALCS, I got the Yanks and I got the Astros. I think this is destiny to happen. This is ironic to happen, and it's going to happen in 2020, the year of the unknown. One of the knowns that we knew was coming, was going to be the Yankees at Astros. We're going to face each other at some point this season.
Quick question.
And it's going to go in the ALCS.
Quick question.
I got the Yankees winning in
– I was going to say that.
I got the Yankees winning in 4.
The Yankees winning in 5.
Hey, Yankees winning in 4.
Actually, if the Yankees are winning, they're probably going to win in 4.
What you got, Joe?
Probably losing 5.
I'm going to take the Yankees in 5.
Okay, Yankees in 5, Yankees in 5, Yankees in 4, and I got the Astros. Are we all on the Astros or the Athletics?
I think the Athletics are the better team. I want the Astros so bad.
Yeah, is Mike Fears going to hit one of their guys?
Game 1 pitching.
Are they going to fight?
See what happens.
I mean, listen, think about the storyline.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Those next 2 storylines going forward could be A's against the Astros and the Yankees possibility.
Both division rivals.
Nothing would make me happier than seeing Garrett Cole clinch the Yankees' trip to the World Series with the Astros all sitting there watching. That would be the greatest thing that ever happened in sports.
A sweet taste. And guess what? They don't have Verlander, so that could be a big deal.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going to happen, but the Athletics are a tricky team. They can have a really good – you never know. They're a good team.
Not having Matt Chapman.
It's going to be interesting. Both of these 4 teams, there's bad blood between both in these both matchups.
Yes.
So that's going to be fun to watch going forward. Baseball, I'm excited to see what the rest of the playoffs is going to look like. All I know is the Yankees are doing well, but also when there's good, there's bad, and there is a lot of bad in New York, not named the New York Yankees, but we got to go talk because we are during the boys of fall time, the New York Football Giants and the New York Jets.
I don't. How you smile when you say that?
No, it's comical because of
There's nothing comical.
No, yes, it is. They are atrocities. Both teams are an atrocity. They're garbage.
I wouldn't be smiling.
No, it's comical. It's not.
I want to rip their heads off.
Ted, it's not. Yeah, we know. I'm pissed off too, Ted. But it's comical how bad both of these teams are. And really,
they couldn't even make a good football team together.
Did you look at that? What did you guys think of that team? I sent you guys an article of if you put the Jets and Giants put together, I could still see them winning only 5 games, maybe. Luckily. Maybe.
Well, here's the thing: the Jets could be a little bit better if their main linebacker didn't opt out. But maybe he's smart. Maybe he's the smartest one not playing on the Jets this season. So sitting out and not have to deal with this crap.
So the Jets lose. They're 0-4. The Giants are going to have a struggling matchup against Aaron Donald and that Rams team, who is very good, could easily be 3-0 right now.
Aaron Donald might set the NFL record.
And that's a bold prediction.
Daniel Jones better be ready to run.
The Rams are a good team. They should be possibly 3-0. This is one of the better teams in the NFC. They could have a field day against this Giant team. It's not going to be pretty. And on top of it, it's a 4:00 game. So my goodness, why? Why can't you just play at 1 o'clock? Can't you just play at 9 o'clock in the morning when we're sleeping and get it over with? I don't care if it's at 6 o'clock in the morning in LA. Get it out of here. No, my thing is both of these teams are right now bad, really bad, bad, historically bad in the Jets and Giants history.
The Jets were averaging 12 points.
My question to both of you.
Can't believe they scored.
I mean, they scored last night.
5 field goals.
5 field goals. Who had Sam Ficken in fantasy? No one did.
No one.
My thing is
the Jets across the 50.
So these two teams, most people, I know it's only been 4 weeks. It's about to be a quarter of the season, but are these two teams realistically going to be the 1 and 2 pick next year? And if so, there is a guy named Trevor Lawrence that's coming up. There's a guy named Justin Fields that's coming up. There's also another left tackle that's supposedly a generational talent in Penny Sewell from Oregon, the left tackle. So if the Giants and Jets are 1 and 2, would either of these teams, this is a question for both of you, would either of these teams give up on their quarterbacks? And I say give up, you don't say it's not giving up. Yeah, it is. Because realistically, Daniel Jones is fighting for Dave Gettleman's job. And
fighting for his own damn job.
He's fighting for his job. And Sam Darnold is 0-4. There's been some bright spots for him, but more of the negatives from him. And it just hasn't been good for either team. So, guys, would either one of these teams move on? And if so, who do you think more likely?
Well, I think right now the Jets are more likely because Darnold's in year 3. And this is, I mean, it's, it's time to deliver, and they look worse. And we talked, last show about the regression of Sam Darnold.
But how much is it his fault, though? How much is his fault? And how much is it the lack?
The blame is how much
lack
is the blame
of talent and coaching around him?
Look, if they fire Joe Howard and Adam Gase and they bring in a new regime, you don't think that new regime's going to want to grab Trevor Lawrence and build from the ground up? That's what I would do. I think that's what any
same thing. Would the Giants do the same thing, knowing realistically? And I already said it. Dave Gettleman's going to be fired. There's just no ifs, ands, or about it. He's going to get fired, so they're going to bring in a new GM. So if they do bring in GM, a younger GM, something like that, a fresh and a breath of fresh air,
Judge is going to have to have a say.
Okay, absolutely. What would they do if they had the number one pick? Would they take Trevor Lawrence?
No, I think the Giants would trade out and get as many assets because that's the
Giants.
That's the Giants. But here's the problem.
That's a good thing to do.
Look, I would say, look, as much you say how important it is as far as Gettleman's job, and that might be true. And listen, if he shows them he's the guy and they end up with the number 1 or 2 overall pick, well, then they know they need to get a superstar, build this team up, maybe get him another weapon or whatever the case may be.
Because when you look at these two teams,
he is auditioning to be the franchise quarterback. And I understand, look, it's technically, it hasn't even been one calendar season yet, or maybe it's officially been one
full calendar season.
Yeah. Whatever the case, he's got to finish this season strong. He didn't finish last season strong. All the success Daniel Jones had last season all came early. And then he tailed off, and he's off to a terrible start this year. And I understand the offensive line is god-awful. But at the same time, he hasn't instilled any confidence in anyone to think, well, he plays well despite the offensive line. We're just blaming the offensive line for everything.
Well, here's the thing. I said to Trevor on the way up, before we got to the house, before we started doing this, I said, listen, the problem you're going to have, though, is the experts on the outside looking in are saying Trevor Lawrence is a generation. Andrew Luck, John Elway, that Peyton Manning type quarterback. That's at least from everyone you at least talk to or read about, Twitter, posts, newspapers, online. Trevor Lawrence is the next big thing. If you happen to pass up on him and he goes to another team and he becomes what a lot of people expect, you're going to have a tough time telling your fan base going forward that you're trustworthy as an organization, because guys like this don't come around. They come around every 10 years, give or take, right? If you're in New York Jets and you really haven't had a franchise quarterback, listen, Sam Darnold was supposed to be that guy, but he is currently not because of the state of the entire team. The problem what I have, though, with taking Trevor Lawrence, even though I probably would too, because you need to get the quarterback right before you can get anything else, is both the Giants and Jets, we joked about it before. If you put them together, they wouldn't make a good team. So what does that say? Both teams need more than just a quarterback.
That's exactly what I wanted to get. I wanted
the Giants
to say that. I was waiting for you to say
The Giants need the linebacker.
From head to toe.
The Jets need a receiver. They need a younger running back.
They need a head coach. They need to find a head coach because Gase is going to get fired. The Giants are going to need a new
Giants
GM.
got a good coach staff. They just don't have the personnel to
The Giants are going to need a new GM. So both of these teams from top to bottom have glaring holes. They're going to need more than
I'm talking about
Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields. These two teams are bad for a reason.
Look at the talent.
These two teams have been bad for some time now for a reason. Bad drafts, bad management, bad head coaching.
The Redskins have more talent than both the Giants and Jets.
The draft picks just haven't panned out. The play hasn't been good. So right there just shows a lot more than, oh yeah, let's just get Trevor Lawrence and we'll be saved forever.
No,
it just doesn't
look like Sam Darnold on the Jets.
That's not how it works. It doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody that just started watching football. It starts at the top. Yeah, exactly. Gase is the problem for sure.
Yeah, but
there is a lot of problems from top to bottom historically.
Do you know
even before Gase?
Hold on.
Even before Gase came, they were bad with Todd Bowles. So you can't just blame the head coach.
I'm going to ask you a question. No, he was successful in his first full season.
He was.
They went 9-7, and just like so did Rex Ryan. Every Jets coach in his first year, all the way back, going back to the last 15 years, it was all successful in their first years. Go look back since the Parcells years. They've all been 9-7, 10-6. Here's the problem. Yeah. There is no talent on this team. I bet you guys can't name me one receiver on the Jets right now.
Perriman. Rashad Perriman.
He's hurt right now.
Barrios. Jamison Crowder.
Okay. Crowder?
I just named
Crowder.
I just
also
named
Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan's on the team.
But
Chris Hernandez.
What
else do you want?
But you're saying that to you is almost like, hey, Trev, what's asking a mathematician what's 2 + 2? You know that
anybody knows that.
No, they don't.
Because maybe it's 5.
Because you don't really know
I think it's 5.
the talent on the Jets because they have none. Their best player was traded away to Seattle. Their other best player is sitting out in COVID, C.J. Mosley. Their third best player has a hamstring injury in Le'Veon Bell. They have no receiver. They have no tight end. They have a rookie starting left tackle who eventually will be really good because he's good. He showed much promise so far in three games so far. But this team has no talent. The Giants have no talent. You were talking, and I want to interrupt you, but I said the Redskins. I mean, they're not a good team, but they have talent. Like, look at that defensive front seven, that front line. That
look at all the
look at
all the 0-3 teams or the winless teams right now. The Bengals have more talent. The Eagles, the Vikings, the Texans.
They at least look better too.
The Falcons. All those teams are winless. The Jets and Giants, they don't have a lot of talent.
They don't.
Those other teams, yes, they're just bad right now, but they have at least.
I'm going to make a remark right now. You know what they look like, Joe? To me, is the XFL.
Yeah,
that's what they look like. They look like one of the XFL teams.
The New York Guardians weren't good either. So it must be in New York.
It's just it's really hard to watch right now as a fan because we're true Giant fans, and I'll always be a Giant fan. But Trevor turned the game off after the third quarter. For me not to even finish the game says so much volume.
That's happened to me about 3 or 4 years since watching it. 3 or 4 times.
I know, but that should say something to their organization. If the Giants were listening into us and be like, "This is what your true fans look like, all right? This is what real fans look like. These are people that if I had the money, I'd go to every Giant home game, but I can't afford the tickets every week. You guys stink, and you're not getting better. And when we said it on the car ride while we went to go get food, the Giants have gotten worse, I think, in the last 3 years. It feels like it at least. Maybe we live in the moment, but the last 3 years, Joe, I'm like, Joe, is their offensive line worse in the last 3 years since getting? You're like, yes. You didn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
Sorry for my.
I've taken a lot of flack on my other podcast, John, about the G-Men for my blunt assessment of the fact that I think this team stinks. And it hurts me to say that. And I don't actively watch the Giants like, oh, no, I hope they lose. I mean, it breaks my heart every week to watch the way this team plays and to see this team literally not taking steps forward. It seems now like you got that Scooby-Doo thing where your legs are just kind of and nothing's really happening, and it's frustrating.
It's like quicksand. 100%. Like this, remember the thing, quicksand?
Yeah.
The harder you try to get out, the farther deeper you fall in.
100% would say that both of these teams right now are heading in really bad directions and doesn't look any promising for the next 13, 14 games for both of these teams because it's going to be another long season in New York sports. Let me close out with this. We got some big matchups for some quarterbacks. I got 3 quarterbacks that I really want to talk about. 2 of them are playing in the same game, and 1 plays on the Sunday night game. Carson Wentz has looked horrible. I know we've been talking a lot of quarterbacks throughout these first 4 weeks, but the quarterback play has been really good with Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Josh Allen. I would just forget those guys, those top 4 right now. And then you've seen quarterbacks that have been very bad right now. Some of them, Carson Wentz is probably the biggest name that has looked really bad for a big-name quarterback. But the 3 quarterbacks that I want to talk about quickly, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, and Carson Wentz, as I already spoke about. These 3 quarterbacks, one's looking for a massive deal, one's already paid, but is having a hard time not turning the ball over this year and staying healthy. So we have to see what happens with him. And another guy, he's coming up on a big team or player option or team option, I should say. So is that team going to keep him? We don't know. That's still a TBD for Baker Mayfield. So the Browns and the Cowboys and then the Eagles. You look at all these 3 teams. These are 3 teams that have had high expectations the past couple of years, the past 2 years. And all 3 have not been up to par.
Just say it.
Have not been up to par. They've been bad. They've been bad. They've all been bad. They've all been bad. No, they've been all bad. So Dak, who is it more important for? Is it Dak, Mayfield, or Wentz to have a big game this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's important for all 3 of them. Because
I know that.
I know. You
just pick the freaking guy.
Because I was going to reiterate, Wentz teams hasn't won a game yet. They tied last week. They took a lot of flack for it. Hasn't played well. Dak hasn't get paid, like you said. And then the Mayfield thing. Will the Browns pick up his 5th-year option? But we had this little conversation. It's got to be Dak. Because let's just do the comparison right now. Browns are playing at the Cowboys this week. If the Browns lose to the Cowboys, you'll say, well, they were probably
they're the Browns.
They were the Browns, right? Because who have they been? The Bengals and the Washington Redskins, which are not really good teams. And they got killed by the Ravens by 30-plus points. If Dak, though, loses to the Browns, you're going to start questioning his team. Be like, all right, well, they got lucky in 1 win because the Atlanta Falcons
Well, they'd be 1-3. They'd be 1-3.
They should be 0-4. And with their number one offense in football, they lose to the Browns and Baker Mayfield. You're going to question the Cowboys so much more in Dak's ability to win games because I'm going to tell you a quick stat. The past 3 seasons, the leading passer in the league by yardage did not make the playoffs, okay? Did not make the playoffs. And Dak right now is on pace for over 5,800 yards and over 30 touchdowns, okay? He's almost averaging like 400 yards a game in passing. But if the Cowboys don't win this division and don't start winning games, I don't care what stats you put up. It ain't going to make a difference because at the end of the day, it's about the wins and losses. It's all it is about.
Joseph,
win games.
Wentz might not be the starting quarterback in another 2 weeks if he doesn't win a game. So I would say immediately the guy that's got the biggest concern, Carson Wentz, there's a replacement lined up and the fans are already calling for him.
But you also got Andy Dalton behind Dak, and it's only a 1-year deal. You sign Wentz to a multi-year, $130 million deal. And it's not like the backup Jalen Hurts has a lot of experience like Nick Foles sitting behind Trubisky. You got Andy Dalton who's been to the playoffs. Maybe he's the type of jolt you need with a veteran presence. I don't know. Probably not because
I've been saying it's Dak because, well, Dak doesn't have the money. He just doesn't have that contract. Wentz is already sealed. It doesn't matter. He can play as bad as he wants. He'll still always have that guaranteed money under his name.
Dak will get paid by someone. He just won't be the Cowboys.
Yeah, it won't be the Cowboys, but a lot of people like to play for the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. It's like just not us. I wouldn't want to play for the Cowboys, but it's like playing for the Yankees. It's that name, the Lakers. Plain and simple. It's Dak because what Mayfield, we don't know what he's going to be after this year. He might not be a Brown. Wentz, we know what Wentz is. He's got his contract. Dak has not gotten the contract that he's been desperately wanting. And this is games that I know the Browns aren't great, but this is games he should win. And if he loses a game like this, there's just no reason. There's no reason for it. They're the more talented team. They have the better quarterback, and they should win on Sunday. Plain and simple.
I feel like I should have went with Mayfield, so we all would have 3 different arguments.
No, but
because
I
would say, hey, you know what, Mayfield, win these games. Prove to the Cleveland Browns fans and prove to the NFL that you can win a big game, and you're not just playing against winning against bad teams.
Before we get out of here, Joe, we got to make a bet. Chiefs and Patriots.
It's a 7-point spread right now.
So I got the Chiefs. I'm going with it.
You think the Chiefs will beat the Patriots by more than 7?
Yeah.
Joseph,
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Trevor, because I like you, and I know you don't love the 7-point spread. I will take 5 points in this game and the Patriots.
I'll do 6. Do 6. It's in between.
I'll do 6.
6. I'll take 6 points. I think the Patriots are going to win the game.
You got to cut your deficit. You're down. Now you're down 2, so you got to cut your deficit. Joseph, as always, thanks, big guy.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming on all social media platforms, including YouTube at Keys to the City. If you want new shirts, new hoodies, message us. We'll get to you as soon as possible, as well. Black and blue, and even maybe gray. What do we do? Black and blue. We'll do whatever people want to do as well. But thank you for watching. As always, you can check us out at Keys to the City. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.